Hi everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, LSR. All right, English Language and Snippets Academy. All right, and like I always say, remember that I said that there are like two features. We have the virtual classroom and we have the educators lounge. All right, and on the first episode of Educators Lounge, we have right with us Mr. Olalekan Adeeko. Mr. Olalekan Adeeko. Mr. Olalekan Adeeko is a Microsoft Innovative Educator. He's also a certified Microsoft Educator trainer. All right. Has traveled to quite a number of countries. Don't worry, we will share his profile with you. You would definitely see that. So basically, this episode is for educators. All right. This episode is for educators, and this is where we get to sensitize teachers, and then also try our best to disabuse their mind of negative notions about the teaching profession. All right, and about the way people have conceived of teaching. So, Mr. Olalekan, welcome to this episode of the Educators Lounge. Welcome. All right, so
thank you for having me.
Yeah, I would just like you to introduce yourself in a few minutes.
Okay, I'm Olalekan Adeeko. I'm an educator, yes, although I'm not active in the classroom now, but I'm an educator. I'll forever be an educator. Yeah, but at the moment I run an edtech firm where we support schools, we support governments, we run training for teachers on teaching with technology and 21st century skills. We deploy technology for schools, and we also do a lot in terms of STEM and coding and robotics for students and in schools. So that's basically what I do at the moment. And as a global training partner for Microsoft, we also help propagate the gospel of Microsoft as regards 21st century learning design and the use of technology in education.
All right. Thank you so much, Olalekan. Thank you really so much. All right. So as a way of starting, all right, I really want to know, and I know that teachers out there would really like to know, how did you come about teaching? All right. Is it that you had always envisioned teaching, or maybe you just came about it accidentally? All right. Many people are accidental teachers and they don't regret being accidental teachers. So could you just tell us how, you came about teaching?
Okay, I'll probably say maybe I belong to the last group you mentioned. Oh. So after my secondary school, I'm not sure I've heard of College of Education before, not at all. But after my secondary school, and I was waiting for my chemistry in particular, WAEC result, chemistry wasn't released. And I told my dad, I said, I didn't want to stay back at home at all. So he said, why not go to Federal College of Education at Abeokuta? I said, in school, right? I won't be at home. Okay, let's go for it. So I went there. I didn't even know all the courses they offer, really. But right from my secondary school days, I've been telling myself, now, then it was all about petroleum engineering. So I was like, I will study petroleum engineering. JS1, 2, 3, SS1. But when we go to SS2, I think people started talking about computer. So I said, okay, maybe I'll study computer science. So I was thinking between computer science and petroleum engineering. So when I go to Federal College of Education, I didn't even know what to do. So I just told them, oh, I love Agric, I love biology. So let me do Agric. And the woman there said, Agric. Agric is filled up, but there is another department, computer mathematics. I said, computer mathematics, you have something like that here. Okay, I'll go for that. So I said, computer mathematics. So I started with my pre-NC. I didn't write JAM, so I just didn't want to stay at home. So I started my pre-NC, and at the same time, my dad said, okay, I'll continue to wait for my chemistry, and probably at a point in time, I'll go to FUNAB here in Abeokuta. So after my pre-NC, my dad said, so what do you think? Should we continue to process FUNAB? I said, I think I'll wait here. I'll see this through. So I've immersed myself fully into the computer mathematics department. I loved mathematics and computing. I was learning a lot about computer there. So I started that. And as God will have it, after my 200 level, I think I won a federal government scholarship. So I had to buy myself a computer system with the money. So I finished my computer mathematics in the university, in the College of Education. So during our convocation, but before our convocation, I went to University of Ilorin with some of my friends. So we were already processing our direct entry to the university to study computer science at the University of Ilorin. So I've been to University of Ilorin. I was like, okay, this is where I'm coming. But during our convocation, something happened. I was the valedictorian. What do you guys call it?
Yes.
As the best overall student in the college. So I was the one that gave the speech on behalf of everybody that's attended the convocation. All the guys that were getting out, 5 sets in total. And the governor then, Otumba Gbenga Daniel, was the special guest of honor. So he said the best student for the 5 sets, he was going to give all of us automatic job employment as a teacher in any school of our choice. So I said, okay, no problem. So I went back home. My mom said, great, thank God. I said, Mommy, I am not taking that. I have my eyes set on going to University of Ilorin. She invited her friends over. I said, no. But at the point in time, I said, okay, I agree. I said, okay, but what I'll do is I won't stay here in Abeokuta. I've stayed all my years in Abeokuta. So I'll choose any school of my choice. So I chose a school in Shagam, Remo Secondary School in Shagam. So, and I struck a deal with my mom. I said, okay, I'll start my part-time degree, but you are paying for my tuition. Don't say because I'm now working, then I'll pay from my own salary. So she said, no problem. So I started my part-time and I started teaching. But my own philosophy is, if I'm not even going to do anything, I won't even start. If I want to do something, then that means I want to pour all my mind, my everything into it. So the first day I stepped into the school at Remo Secondary School, as January 10th, 2005, I told myself, I said, I don't want to be the same set of teachers I disliked while I was in secondary school. You know, the teachers that won't even give their best, that will be complaining here, they will beat students, they are not even doing what they should be doing in the classroom. So I told myself, I want to be a different teacher. So I'll love a different kind of approach with my students. I want to listen more to them. I want them to take ownership of the teaching in the class so that we're going to be friends and all that. And I was quite very young then. I was very, very young. So I think that helped me to be able to relate well with my student then. And as God will have it, December, that's in 2006, I was nominated as one of the teachers that will go for a training in Abuja then. Okay. So it was then that I went there. I was trained by Intel, and we were told to go back to our states and train other teachers in our state. But we were 30 that went to Abuja from different states of the Federation, 4 of us from Ogun State. So I came back and said, okay, I trained the 10 teachers that we were asked to train. I said, I'll do more. I'll train everybody in the school. I said, okay, that's not even enough. Let's train the teachers around Remo. I was able to train about 80, 100 teachers. Wow. And since then, I've been facilitating for Intel. So that is how I got into teaching, really. It was not that I planned it, but when the opportunity came and I stepped into the class, I told myself, yes, it's time for me to do justice and be the teacher that I longed for while I was in secondary school. Really, I had fantastic teachers in secondary school, but at least there were quite few of them too that here and there I wasn't pleased with. But I told myself, I don't just want to be any teacher. I don't just want to settle for my 8 to 2 and my 30 days make a day, and that is it. I wanted more, and I had to go all out for more.
Olalekan, thank you so much. All right, because most times when we talk about teaching and teachers, all right, many times for those who accidentally came about teaching, they're always not glad to talk about it. Most of the time we want to say, oh, I'd always dreamt of it. I'd always wanted to be a teacher, and I'm doing exactly, what I'd consistently dreamt of. Okay, but I'm so glad that you didn't have a perfect beginning. All right, that you really never considered teaching. Okay, you came about it, and today you are in it. you have embraced it and you're doing so well for yourself and those around you. I'm actually, and I think that is an encouragement, all right, to the accidental teachers, okay, that you could start something accidentally, you could come about something accidentally, but it's not an excuse, okay? You can actually build something great, okay, out of that accidental
Definitely,
happen chance encounter. All right, thank you so much. Well, I know a few things about you, okay, and I really, really want us to, to talk about those things, okay. In 2019, when I met you, okay, I know that you were a facilitator, okay, and that was the year I, became a Microsoft Innovative Educator. All right, and I just want to ask you, okay, how did you come about being a global teacher? How did you transit from being the typical Nigerian government school teacher to being a teacher who's global, okay? Not only a teacher who has global mindset, all right, but a teacher, all right, who's also been exposed, to different countries and also getting to understudy teaching styles in different countries. I know you've been to France. Am I correct?
Yeah.
I know you've been to Singapore. I know you've been to the United States of America. And I know you've been to quite like 2-3 additional countries. Okay, so could you just share the transition experience with us?
Okay, I think I started that while I was answering the first question. So the big transition was that opportunity for me to attend the training. Okay. It was not the opportunity to attend the training really, because 30 of us attended the training, just like I said earlier. But for me, like I said, I love to go all out, do whatever I need to do. So when I got to Abuja that day, I was supposed to go a day earlier, but something happened. I didn't get a full gist. So I got there late. And the woman that was supposed to attend to us said, boy, go back to where you're coming from. And I'm like, what's happening here? So it wasn't the first day my encounter there wasn't that all palatable, but I stayed back. And today, that woman happens to be like my godmother that opened my eyes to like everything. Yeah. So I didn't say because the woman was about sending me out, then I would just close my eyes and just do whatever I needed to do there and disappear. So I go back to Ogun State, to Shagam in particular. I trained a couple of teachers and I shared the report with Intel. And since then they said, you know what? We love to start training teachers from one state to another. And for you to have done this without expecting anything in return, then I think we should engage you the more. So with that, they started sending me from one state to another, from one school to another, King's College.
So it was actually your selfless approach that actually paved the way for this teaching on this very golden platform.
Yeah, I can say that. And then the quest for knowledge too, really, because if you are given different opportunities and you're unable to deliver, definitely maybe they won't even want to call you the second time. So that was Intel really. So along the lines where I started doing a couple of things too for multi-choice, and Microsoft too came along the way in 2008. 2008, I started doing some things with Microsoft, using their tools, join their community. When you do something, you want to showcase it. So that's another thing for us as teachers. I see that quite a lot of teachers are doing that today, but it wasn't like that initially. Teachers don't want to talk about what they do. They don't want to post about their class activities on Facebook, maybe because they don't want people to look at them and say, you're a teacher, you're disturbing my timeline with the nonsense you are doing in your class. But a couple of teachers are doing it this way because that's kind of branding too. Because you never can tell who is kind of watching, who is kind of seeing things that you are doing. Some people will probably just send you messages on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and say, we love what you're doing. We want you to do this. So that moment, I was like, okay, I was talking about what I was doing online. I was exposing my students to a lot of projects that they could do with other students from different schools. I was kind of inviting teachers from other countries into my class via the use of Skype, so that they can my students also had friends with other students in different kind of different countries and different continents. So it started that way, and I was like, okay, let's begin to expand. It shouldn't just be all about me in Ogun State. So we formed like a group. We were training teachers here and there, and I moved from Shagam, moved down to Abeokuta. We continued to, and I found my body in my paddy sort of Ayo, who happens to be my childhood friend. So when I came back to Abeokuta, we said, let's take this up fully. And we started doing a whole lot of things. So it was as a result of that and trying to show whatever I know, share with other people, because that is key to sharing. So it's not just about me knowing something and I want to keep it to myself and say, yo, you know what, I don't want to share with people. Because the thing is, that thing you're keeping to yourself, you never can tell. Maybe there are better ways of doing it. So if you don't say it out, you won't even learn. And I learned that while I was facilitating for Intel, because we're using 4 iterative steps then by trying to teach teachers how to use the computer. We say you plan, you do, you review, and you share. So that sharing aspect is important too, trying to share with other teachers and trying to share what you do also online. And at the same time, looking for opportunities out there for teachers. Weeks in the United States, I was able to teach mathematics in a particular school there, lectures in a university, and today, I give glory to God. I've been to like 10 countries. I've traveled like 13 times. Until date, I've not spent 1 naira of my money on flights or anything, even from ground transportation to hotels and all this. I haven't spent a dime. Even last year that I stopped, I had to take a seat and say I'm not to full-time teaching for the state. I thought that was going to be the end of my free flights and all that. But even till date, I still haven't spent a dime. I still haven't spent a dime. It's been God all the way. So we as teachers should not just look at our job as just the 8 to 2. You just go to the class and teach your mathematics or physics or chemistry or English, and now that's all. By the time we engage the student, we have enough armor that we can harm ourselves with to challenge the status quo. We can form alliance with the students. Our students are talented, are super talented, that we can use them also to even build our profile, to even help the students. The students also are looking for teachers that will engage them. They also want to learn. But if we are not pushing them towards the right direction to them, they tend to do other things because they're always restless. That's why we say some people are doing some things. Some people are doing a whole lot of things that are not good. Maybe they are into Yahoo and blah, blah, blah. But if we are just telling students, don't do this, don't do that, we should be able to show them what they should do. Okay, so that has helped to my students, promoting my students to has helped, because as I'm promoting the student, I was technically promoting myself too, because in some of my students, about 2 of them were in US too for a program, an African Youth Leadership Program. So it wasn't just my student, at least the teacher that supported them all the way. A lot of them that have won awards, they say, I'm working with my teachers and all that. And till date, I'm still working with some of my students. Till date, still working with some of my students that are in the university, that are done with university. I'm still working with them, and a lot of them are doing fine today.
Thank you for the way you went about narrating how you transited from just the normal teaching style, all right, to becoming a global teacher. I don't want to use the word local, okay, because it's when you say you're a local teacher and all that, it comes with one could be a teacher that is localized, all right, but it's not, it does not mean that you're a local teacher, okay. Could you just I want you to, just in a few minutes, could you just begin from how you went to the US and how your students also got involved, and how some of your students also had the chance to travel with you to the United States, and some of the teachers that were involved. Because I just want people to realize that teaching is limitless, and there's actually no height to it. Teaching, you can attain any height in teaching. So the height we attain in teaching is dependent on the teacher, is dependent on the educator, and is dependent on how creative how so futuristic and how visionary the teacher is. Could you just give us a recap of that aspect?
Yeah. When there are opportunities out there for teachers, maybe they need to fill an application or they need to submit a statement of purpose or this or that. I do tell teachers that they are not actually looking forward to reading about the numbers of periods that you teach in your classes or
Yeah.
how you teach your classes. They are always looking for more. They're looking for that X factor. They are always looking for that exceptional moves that you must have made. So when I saw the application for the Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program, it's a Fulbright program of the United States Department of State, I said, okay, let me apply for this. Going through the application, you need to write a whole lot of essays, about 5 essays, and you also need to take your TOEFL exam and some other things. And part of these essays, you must be able to document how well you have been able to go the extra mile as a teacher in the class. Maybe you have a kind of a social program that you are promoting. Maybe you have a kind of a project that you are running in your school. Maybe you've introduced an innovative method of teaching or a kind of pedagogy, a kind of approach that is innovative. So they were always looking for that. But for me, when I needed to fill the application, I was actually even selecting what to write there because I could go all out and write several pages because I was already doing a whole lot of things. I was not just waiting around because of awards or because of an exchange program. I wasn't doing all the things I was doing because of an award or because of an exchange program. I was just doing it because I was loving it. I was loving the idea of seeing my student flourish. I was enjoying the idea of introducing a whole lot to my student, exposing them to a whole lot of things. So when the opportunity came for me to fill the application, I had a whole lot of things to select from. Because as at that time, I was running a kind of a robotic class, coding and robotic programs in school. It started from my school. And before I could say Jack, we exported it to about 126 schools in Ogun State. Wow. And as along the line, I got the US consulate involved. They supported with a kind of a fund that we used to buy microbits, and we distributed microbits to all the schools so that they can use it. So I was already doing a whole lot of things. Before I even left Shagam, I started a kind of a project with my students. So I was doing a whole lot that I could pick from. So I was able to write a lot about things I was doing in the class. I was able to pour enough into the application, talking about the use of Skype in the classroom, talking about the amount of training that I've done for teachers. As at that time, I've been to like 11, 12 states in the country to run training for people before that time. So I was able to pour all that into the application. And as God will have it, I was selected. And the next order was for me to write TOEFL. And I needed to score at least 90 in the internet TOEFL. And I wrote the exam. It all went fine. Although I didn't hit when I was going for the exam. I did not even check any book. I was just like, maybe it's English. I love American film now. Let's just go there and write. And I just sat there. For the last part, I just wrote the two essays. I didn't even proofread. I just submitted. But I passed and I was shortlisted and I went for the interview. It was not even an interview really because it's a US program. So I was just there to appear. And I was in the US, and even in the US too, I have to still say, you know what? I must be able to carry myself high here. We were about 71 from 35 countries during my cohort. And out of all of us, about 19 of us were sent to University of Nevada in Reno. And there too, we needed to take classes, we needed to take this and that. Our tech class, when I got there, I just sat down and the lady was teaching us. At a point in time, I had to be like an assistant facilitator there, helping other teachers. So even when I got to my school, the secondary school I was posted to, middle school, Pine Middle School, and I was teaching mathematics, I was able to still engage with my students, to still learn them more. I didn't even stay in the math class alone. I went to the chemistry class, the music class as well. So it was an all-round experience for me. And I was able to even learn about education in all the other 35 countries because we were always sitting down we had our orientation in DC, so all of us were there. We were learning from one another, and that has even helped me today to do like a kind of comparative analysis of what is happening in country A and country B, and the best practices over there, things that I could on my own try and add to what I do in the classroom. Because I know teachers are always afraid. They're like, NCDC, I mean, NARDC did not approve this part, or federal government is not. I said, NLDC is saying this is the standard. It doesn't mean that I can't go above that. I can as well build on that, but at least they must do this. That is what he says. So
the benchmark
that helped me a lot to learn from other people. I didn't just go to the US to enjoy. Yes, it was fun, but I was in several states there. I was in San Francisco, in LA, and some other places. But at the same time, I was there to learn from other teachers from other countries, and also to learn from my partner teacher. In fact, I love what they made us do there. They made us write a letter to our future self.
Wow.
They said, in the next 5 years, write a letter to your future self. What are the things that you love to do when you get back to your country? So write to your future self. And you know what? They mailed the letter to us after 5 years. Many of us, we forgot we wrote down something. So because we are all of us are still kind of friends. The 19 of us that went to the same university, and even some people that went to other universities, we got the letter and we exchanged calls and WhatsApp. We said, you know what, I received my own letter today, and I opened the letter. Really, I am not trying to just to tell lies or anything. I looked at the letter I wrote and I said, wow, and you did all this. Because then I told myself, I said I was going to like train a certain number of teachers. I was going to start up a place that I'll call Teachers Lunch, where teachers in my state can come around and learn about the use of technology and new practices. And I was going to create a learning resources, kind of database of learning resources for teachers. And I'm like, wow, and we're able to do this because today we started off with what we call our own hub today. We call it Third Prime Hub, which is technology in education hub. So where we have teachers today that still come around to learn, and we've got students also that come around to learn about coding, robotic, Minecraft, and all that. So I'm like, okay, we're able to do this. And I was also fortunate to be involved in the Ogun State project. We are able to create lesson plan for all subjects and even presentations for all subjects. And I was the one in charge of putting all these things on SharePoint, trying to like put finished touches to all their presentations. So I had my eyes read through about 5,000 plus PowerPoint presentation and about more than 9,000 lesson plan covering subjects from primary to junior secondary to secondary, because I had to convert all to PDF, ensure that the fonts are uniform and some other thing, make sure the site is running and all that. So I actually looked at everything and I said, wow, thank God I was able to do all this, even as a classroom teacher in a public school.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So just as a way of wrapping this up, could you, what's your advice for current teachers, existing teachers, whether they're working in private schools or they're working in public and all that? I like something you said, okay? And you said that when you started out, your intention was not to get the fame. You were just being selfless, helping people and all of that, you know, but at some point when you had the opportunity to apply for something, you could use those things you have done, all right? And then it helped because they showed how practical you were as a teacher and how you had helped. Okay, so what really do you have to say to teachers? I know we will still have this interview later, okay, because I think you would be a recurrent face on this channel, because I know that you have a lot to tell teachers about how they could use LinkedIn, all right, to beef up what they do, to get known, get job opportunities, connection and all that. So I know there are quite a number of things to say, but really, what do you have to say to existing teachers and upcoming teachers? How can they also transit, all right, from the level at which they are to where, you know, they desire to be?
Number one, I would say their professional development journey and anything that has to do with acquiring skills and knowledge, it's their responsibility.
Okay.
It's their sole responsibility. I am not saying that government or their employers should not train them or should not send them on training, but I would say, what Yoruba will say, it is about you yourself. If whatever skill you acquire, it's all yours. You can decide to leave that school at any time. You can decide to step aside at any time. It is what you know that you'll be able to carry to wherever you're going. So don't say because your government is not sending you on courses or your employer is not sending you to attend trainings. Make sure that you continue to train yourself. You continue to attend seminars, webinars here and there, and continue to learn. Anybody that stopped learning is old. Whether you're 20 years old, whether you are 100 years old, you are old if you stop learning. And the great injustice you can do to yourself as a teacher is not wanting to learn. Is trying to stick with what you know and not try to acquire new skills, acquire more knowledge. A lot of things are happening today. A lot of opportunities are out there for teachers, but not just teachers, for innovative teachers, for 21st century teachers, for teachers that are willing to go all out and help themselves at the same time help the children, the student that they are teaching. So continue to learn. Your professional development is your priority, your number one priority. And number two, also, don't be afraid to talk about what you do as teachers. I can begin to mention names of teachers that I've been able to work with. Some of them, I didn't even know them, but I was able to see what they do on social media. And today, some of them will be working together with doing a whole lot of things together. So as teachers, don't be afraid to say what you do anywhere. If you're doing something great, talk about it. Even something as little, something you don't even value that you're doing in your class. Talk about it, be bold about it, brand yourself on Twitter, on Facebook. It shouldn't just be all about party teas on Facebook or on Instagram. I'm betting. Showcase what you're doing every day. And at the same time, begin to think of how to impact the society. Everything should not start and end 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Everything should not start around 8 a.m. and end at 2 p.m. What do you do when you get back home? What are you passionate about? I'm not saying everything should be about technology. Technology is my own forte, but to somebody it's gender, to somebody else it's inclusiveness, to somebody else it's something, it's safeguarding, it's a whole lot of things. Pick your own niche and continue to work on it. Continue to be passionate about something. Take one particular social vice that you want to focus on, you want to do a whole lot around. By the time you do all those things, I tell you, you will not even be the one running after opportunities. It is opportunities that will be running after you and you'll be selecting. When I was in Ghana, I spent like 3 months in Ghana last year. Doing what? To train, to work with the Federal Ministry of Education, they call Ghana Education Service, to train their teachers. Because Ghana as a country, they are distributing 260,000 computers to their teachers, and they felt they need to train their teachers. So we went there to train the 260 teachers from their 260 districts, who will now go back and train the other teachers. So we were there as expatriates to train the teachers. So I'm not even running training for teachers in Nigeria alone this time around. I'm running training for teachers in other countries. And also we are even going to train about 30,000 of them starting from the next few weeks. So when you position yourself, you become an authority in one particular field. Like I said, it could be something else. Esonofu is there doing quite so well in mathematics. Okwefai is doing so well in English. You've got people that are doing quite a whole lot of things here and there that's they picked so I'm not saying it must be technology, but you should not just go to your work, come back home, that's all. You can't just do that. Even if it is your YouTube account that you want to start showcasing different science, myths, and some other things, that's something. If it's about gender, you want to start agitating for whatever you feel you need to do. So we need to keep ourselves alive. And how do you keep yourself alive? Get something doing. Be passionate about something, go all out for it. And before you know it, the awards will start running in. Some of these awards, you won't even be the one saying, I want to apply for this, I want to apply for that. But by the time they now say, oh, I think we find you all to come and do this, you have so much to write. Last year, was it last year or 2 years ago, a professor from LASU said, And they're looking for teachers to write about their experience in the classroom to publish kind of a journal and all that. So I'm like, I didn't even know the man from anywhere. Somebody recommended it. So a lot of things will start happening when you try to acquire enough skills and knowledge, You cannot just do without studying. 30 minutes every day, dedicate it to learning new things. Read. I don't like reading too, but I found joy in using um, um, a massive reader that will read books to me. I can put headphone on my head and have listen to podcasts, listen to a whole lot. If I don't want to open books, if you're like me, you don't like opening books, get podcasts, listen to all those things. You need to continue to learn. You need to continue to learn. Even if you're watching movies, you're not just watching the movies, you're looking at something that you can still do. I tell you, a friend of mine who is in US now, Wellington, when we were traveling to, I was in Mauritius then, he watched a movie, Paying It Forward. And when this guy got to Mauritius, he changed the narrative around his presentation and he was able to wrap it around that Paying It Forward. And that is what made him stand out in Mauritius, and he had to go to Brazil to do some other things there. So watching movies should not just be, I'm enjoying myself, I'm just laughing out loud, but you are thinking of things that you're thinking, how can I use this in my class? How can I use this as a teacher? So for us as teachers, in summary, as I begin to wrap up, your professional development is very, very important. Although in Nigeria, we don't have the law saying you must undergo a certain number of years. We don't have that. They have that in Ghana, they have that in Hungary, they have that in Israel, they have that in some other countries that in a year you must undergo 30 hours of PD. But even if that is not in place, you yourself can be disciplined and say, every time I must learn for a certain number of hours. Then continue to brand yourself. Don't be afraid to showcase yourself. And at the same time, be in the right community. Learn to leverage on the strength of people in the community. Follow anybody on Twitter. That's why I love Twitter. Follow anybody. You don't need their permission to follow them, except they block you when you see something nasty. But follow anybody so that you get in their minds and learn from them. When they post about new things, you tend to learn. I follow a lot of people because I'm kind of transiting into data analytics and AI, machine learning AI, to see how we can use data now to improve education as a whole. So I'm following a whole lot of people. When I see they post about something, I'm like, oh, what is this tool all about? So the same thing for you as teachers. Follow great teachers. Learn from them. See what they do, and you'll be better off.
Thank you so much, Olalekan. Thank you so much. This has been engaging, has been insightful. I know that teachers will be so glad, having you on this channel. Thank you so much. Okay. One of the things I would say is you're actually coming back. Okay, you're actually coming back because we would have this again, and we would focus on how teachers can use this technology, specifically how teachers can use the social media, okay, to turn what they do around, okay, because I know that we had a conversation recently, and also recently when I spoke with Okwefa and Yemisi, they were talking about how we could use LinkedIn to our advantage, and they were referring to quite a number of things, and I really want other people to really, to have this knowledge, okay, so please, you're coming back very, 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 very.
No problem. My pleasure.
Yeah, you're actually coming back. Thank you so much. So this is to our viewers. Thank you for listening. Thank you for, I know that you have learned a lot from this interaction. This is Olalekan Adeeko. Olalekan trained me in 2019, all right? And since then, I've done my best to stay in touch with him and all that, and he's traveled all over the world. Now, I would say it's not basically about the money or the fame. It's more about being selfless, all right? This YouTube channel is basically for students and teachers, for educators, and it's actually because, these days, teachers are losing their self-worth. They're losing their sense of worth because even from the government, sometimes the private sector, all right, we are not being made to feel so confident and all of that, all right? And then sometimes when you consider what teachers are paid and all of that, you start thinking, is it really worth it? Even you don't want your kids, okay, to teach, all right? But the Educators Lounge is an opportunity to realize what teachers are doing all over the world and to tell you that you can be a teacher and be comfortable, all right, beyond the money. You can be a teacher and have a good sense of worth, okay? Actually, teachers are making it, all right? So don't let an employer tell you that, oh, teachers, how much are we paid? Teachers are really, really making it, all right? Some teachers can pay some bankers' salaries, all right? So some teachers can do certain things, okay? But basically, you know, this is an opportunity for us to see, you know, actual teachers, all right, who have done well for themselves, and then to then see how we too can get motivated by their achievement, and also then begin to see how we can turn teaching around, okay? First of all, for those around us and also for ourselves, all right? Because don't start out with the intention to win awards, all right? If you do that, you would end up being an artist. You'd end up being someone who's just planning and, you know, and then trying to manipulate their way around people, all right? It's actually very, very important to start out with a mind to develop yourself. I've done trainings. I've paid close to 300K for trainings, like from my pocket. It wasn't easy, all right? But these days, I'm beginning to see that those trainings pay off, all right? Those trainings pay off. So this is an opportunity for teachers all over the world, but most especially in Africa, okay, for us to realize that there's more to teaching than we think, and to begin to position ourselves strategically, all right? So that at the end of the day, you would end up loving what you do, all right? And through you, many other persons will be inspired, okay, to teach and to change, to turn lives around, all right? Thank you so much, Mr. Olalekan. It's wonderful having you around.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
And please get prepared. You're coming again. You're coming again. And this
No
time
problem.
it will be actually more focused on how teachers could use the social media to their advantage, and how they could use technology, all right, to make impact in their students' lives and also around them. Thank you so much. It's good having you around.
Thank you.
Thank you.